Hi, welcome to Marshashana Yoga. I'm so grateful for all of you that are watching. There is nothing more gratifying as a teacher than sharing what I have learned with you. That is just one of the benefits I have experienced though. In general, the benefits of yoga are many. An increase in muscle strength and flexibility, more energy, lower blood pressure and heart rate, better metabolism can help you with weight gain. Yoga asanas massage the internal organs, ridding the body of toxins and helping to prevent disease. It can also help with anxiety and depression, can ease gastrointestinal difficulties, and you're gonna have better respiration. Also, as we age, can prevent injury and help with your balance and your posture. And if you do have insomnia, try some yoga. It might help. And there's also a new awareness of your body and your mind. And this can help you to see when you are getting sick or when something is off whack. The list could go on longer, but I want to talk about the personal benefits for me. Starting at the base, my feet have improved immensely. I have flat feet and through association, I'm sure, weak ankles. So with yoga, I have been able to strengthen the ankles so I have less pain and problems there. And my feet are also wider and just in better condition. The toes are straighter, all of that. Because of the lessons I've learned regarding the mind stuff, I have been able to begin to observe the goings-on inside my mind. I suffered for years with depression, and I do occasionally have some feelings around that. They have not surfaced or presented in the same way, though, over the past year or two. It is this ability to observe that has shifted my perspective. It's hard to explain, but I just don't see it in the same way anymore. Instead of going to a place of, oh, I'm starting to go down, oh no, it's going to be bad, blah, 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 I instead note that some thoughts are occurring, but they may not be the truth. And also, some of this may be just cosmic highs and lows. I draw on that idea of maintaining equanimity, of staying calm in the face of crap. Yep. After years on meds, no more meds for years now. What else? Well, I was diagnosed about 7 years ago with seizure activity. I had actually had a small stroke, but was unaware of that at that time. I had been having what I thought of as dizzy spells or grayouts since I was 17 years old. Then I had an incident where I was driving and I experienced something very freaky. I was thinking a thought and it just dropped halfway through. That happened several times as I backed up and tried to fathom what was happening. I went to the hospital and was diagnosed with a seizure disorder, which involved spikes in the temporal lobe of the brain. Anyway, long story short, I was put on meds. I didn't want to. If I wanted to continue driving, I had to take the medication. So I did. But after 5 years, I have been able to come off it, about 10 months now, with no adverse effects. Originally, I was told I would be on it forever. So I'm so thrilled, and I know it is my yoga that brought me here. My neurologist told me she has started doing yoga too. That's so cool. One more story, and this involves my insomnia. Now, this is something that has been around since I was a young teen. I remember going to my guidance counselor at Millis High School and telling him that I could not sleep at night. But in 1967, little was known about depression. We know now that insomnia is characteristic. Anyway, the insomnia continues to this day. But recently again, because of what yoga has taught me, I'm thinking, what is this? And it seemed like it was cyclical. So I began to observe this about 6 months ago. And about 2 months ago, I said out loud, after a vicious cycle of insomnia, usually lasting about 4 days, and then the resulting effects of the lack of sleep, another 4 or 5 days, a month. I said out loud, it's like a period. Well, the light bulb went off, and I went online and found that even though I am many years postmenopausal, I can still be experiencing hormonal cycles. Wow. That was really mind-blowing and eye-opening. And so this past month, I took that on, knowing it was coming. At the first sign of not being able to sleep, I took some melatonin and a little the next night and got through the worst of it, and then sailed on into what is my good sleep time. This is life-changing, and I'll continue to simply observe, because that's what yoga teaches us. So I say to all of you, yoga is good! Yay! Okay, and now, I'm gonna calm down here a little. And now I have a couple of friends here who will talk about their experiences as well. I'm gonna first introduce my friends Lois Minkovich, who has been on my show a number of times, and my dear friend Elaine Pagucci. Now, Lois is a friend of mine since first grade. First day of first grade we met, and we were apart for a number of years, and then we got back together, and she's been doing yoga with me for about 3.5 years now. And Elaine is my friend. We go way back to probably 19 years old, and we very good friends, and we've been through a lot together, up and down, lifestyle changes and such. And Elaine has been doing my yoga class at the Enchanted Fox on Friday mornings, 8 to 9 a.m. For about a year and a half now or so. And so they're going to talk to you about what their experiences are. So I'm going to introduce Lois first, and I'm going to let Lois tell us a little bit about what she thinks about the yoga.
I have to say, yoga has made a huge difference in my life. I find my body stronger, much more endurance also too. I notice that my nervous system is much calmer. I have more energy. I just love going to yoga. It's just amazing the difference. I feel that I'm physically stronger. The poses that we hold build endurance in the muscles, and it's just a fabulous experience. And some of the funny things is I have actually used some of the chanting, the Om, to actually quiet my great-grandchildren and get them to eat. I've taken crying babies and soothed them using chants from yoga.
This is amazing, and this is something I really hadn't passed to Lois. She brought this to me, and I thought that's wonderful. I have seen some stuff on baby massage. I just recently saw it on reflexology. These are things when we were raising our kids we just didn't know about, but it's great for new moms out there. And Lois has experienced how that can work with the babies.
Yeah.
So anything else? What else do you want to say about it?
I've had a lot of hip problems on my right side. I had a hip injury many years ago. And I have to say, going to yoga and being aware of how I hold my feet has immensely helped my hip. Plus, again, the poses that we hold help build the muscle around it. And then, of course, the exercising, the flexation has made my body more flexible. So all around, it has been a phenomenal experience and has helped me immensely.
That is wonderful, Lois. Thank you for testifying to that. As I mentioned earlier to them, I mean, as they come on here and tell their stories, we hope that someone out there is moved and takes a step towards this life of the yoga life, because it's great and it's good for you. It feels good for all of us. And so we want to let everyone know how good this is. And now I'm going to introduce Elaine, my buddy Elaine, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her feelings. Now, Elaine has been coming for about a year and a half, I said.
Yep.
That's right. So she's fairly new student of yoga, and she is so totally on board. Both Lois and Elaine come faithfully every time to class, and there is this idea in the niyamas of tapas, or showing up every week and doing and being diligent, and that they are, and it begins to show.
Yes.
And tell us, Elaine, how has this affected you? Let's start physically first with the body. How does this feel for you?
Well, initially, I started the yoga to support you.
Yes, that's right.
To support you as a friend. I wasn't that enthused in the beginning, but I thought to support you and weight loss. That was my main goal initially. And in the year and a half, I have lost 20 pounds, which I think is definitely a major benefit. And then as the time's gone on, there's been so many other things. I've gotten better balance.
Yes.
I have less fluid. In fact, I have no fluid retention. That was an issue with, I mean, even my doctor was concerned, and I too don't like taking medication, so I take nothing now, maybe vitamins occasionally when I remember, but for the most part, I don't even I take nothing. The fluid pills are gone. I see my ankles now. That's where my main issue was. Again, my balance. To be able to stand on one foot is amazing, and to hold the poses,
Yes.
and because of that, it's given me more muscle strength. I remember a time, I also believe the blood flow is a lot, I don't know how to explain it, but for example, I'd get to the top of the stairs and I'd be out of breath, or things like that. But now I can actually feel the blood flowing a lot better, and I don't have that problem when I'm at the top of the stairs.
Right.
So from the perspective of my mind and the mental part of it, that too is a balance issue, but I have a very stressful job, and at times I find myself, I need to take a breath. And I go back to the breathing exercises that we've learned. In fact, I use those more than just for a stress reliever when I'm trying to sleep in the evening. I don't so much as have insomnia, but I do have trouble falling asleep if I have many things running through my mind. Right. So what I've done is I'll lay in bed and I will say, okay, toes, you start to sleep, and then foot and ankle. I never even make it to my knees. I'm usually sound asleep by then, but I'm breathing and just focusing to get there. And I could have never done that a year and a half ago. So that's been a huge impact too.
That is wonderful. And what a great idea. I love the way she's scanning her body. She's doing that scan and relaxing a little part, and she says she doesn't even make it to the knees. I think that's fantastic. That's a great idea.
Yes.
You bring a different view to this. The blood flow is very important, and I think as blood begins to flow more freely, you just feel better. It also clears up that respiratory.
Yes.
Makes you more, because people aren't using all of their lungs. Mm-hmm. They're only using a portion.
That's
of
true. And when I quit smoking, it's been like 12 years now, but even then my breathing is better because I concentrate on my breathing now. I never concentrated on it before.
Yes.
The yoga has brought that to me, where, I take a deep breath in, I'll hold it for a few seconds, release it, and again, when I'm stressed or trying to sleep. So that's been a huge benefit.
I find that too, the deep breathing
Yes.
has helped me immensely, and I know years ago I did not breathe properly. I was breathing shallow and
Yes.
didn't even know it.
Yes.
Until I started yoga.
Yes, I think this is true. And it's that whole idea of awareness, the mindfulness. I mean, they're the same thing. All they're saying is pay attention to yourself.
Right.
For so many years, I just blew through life not even thinking about what's going on with my mind or my body. Once you begin this, you're like, oh my. It opens up this enormous world to you.
Especially when you start seeing the changes.
Yes.
That's when you really like, wow, this really does work, and it really makes a difference.
It really does. And I think with
Yeah.
Elaine, now she mentioned her weight loss, but lots of people lose, and I'm sure you've lost 20 pounds, but what's before in your life, but what's the difference, Elaine?
Oh, I feel better losing it, and I'm eating better. I'm more thoughtful about what I'm putting into my body, and
Exactly.
the times that I'm eating. I'm not eating at 10 o'clock on a piece of cake or anything. In fact, I've pretty much lost my need for sugar. Not to say I don't like it occasionally, but I don't require it as much for my stress. I mean, I would eat sugar to deal with my stress in the evening after a particularly tough day, but I don't do that any longer.
Yeah.
I just stay away from that. I don't want to put that in my body anymore.
And so the point is, too, that the weight hasn't come back on.
No, not even close.
That's usually important. A lot of people take the weight up, but they put it back. And with the yoga, you're maintaining. And she's right, because when you start, it brings that awareness. you begin to think, what am I putting into my body?
Right.
You know, chemicals and preservatives and sugar, and you start thinking, and that's all it is. It's a mindfulness and awareness. All of a sudden you're like, man, I don't want to do that anymore.
Right.
Yes. And I was never big for vegetables or things. I'm a person that was never big for greens. I have been trying to try a little more, and because I do need to eat that way, and I enjoy eating that way, so I have expanded my palate, and I have walked away from a lot of the preservative type food. And again, it is because of the yoga, because of the thinking. If you read a book on it, it's not just about your poses or your stretches, even though those are primary and so important.
Yes.
But it goes further than that. It's a whole way of thinking that has changed. So.
It is, and it's this 8 limbs of yoga, and you know that most people in the Western world, they're focused on that asana, that one piece, you know, and maybe the breath, the pranayama, but you've got, even before that, you've got the yamas and niyamas, and you start to change your lifestyle, truthfulness, non-violence, non-stealing, tough as, you know, all this, and it all comes together because you're leading a good life, and everything's just
It's awareness of other people too. That's another thing. Those benefits, I've never thought. Not to say I never thought, but I give more attention to the people that I'm with, and to being a better listener, and to just not be so much inside myself and try to be outside a little more. I don't know if that comes with the age or yoga. It seems to be a combination of wisdom that you get.
Yes.
But the yoga definitely has increased my awareness of it.
Right.
So, I mean, in general, it has been a major awareness of all parts of my life. So.
Yeah. It's really one of those things that once you do get into it and you're doing it with some regularity, it's almost like there's no way you'll back out. It's hard for me to imagine someone just falling off completely. They actually have a word for that in the yoga book, in Sanskrit, but to fall off completely. But I think most people just continue on because you want to.
Because you feel better.
You feel better.
You feel better. Yeah.
And Lo, of course, is big time into she does her own protein shake. She dries her own fruit. She's just like amazing. She does all this stuff to also maintain her health.
Yeah.
She's always been health conscious, always exercised.
Right.
Elaine and I, we went up and down a bit there, and we got into all that crazy stuff back then. But Lois has pretty much maintained that all through, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And now we're all in this great place where we're leading this nice lifestyle. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I try to bring my friends into that. I mean, like Marsha did with me. I've got friends that I've been talking to, and I've said, you know, Marsha will come see you and sit down so you don't have to have an embarrassment of the class the first time. Right. Because I know a lot of times it'll take people time to come into that environment, especially if you are concerned about body appearance, etc. But I think you get past that.
You do.
You do get past that eventually, and I think that's good. You guys, it's been wonderful, you know, having you guys as students and watching your progress when you see someone come in and they've never done anything, and to watch them progress. We did this morning Ardha Chandrasana, and that is where we come up on one leg and extend an arm out, and the legs up and the arms out, and these two both doing it right along with me, and that's amazing because when they started, of course, they couldn't do anything.
And I find that once a week isn't even enough anymore. I need it more than once a week. And no matter how busy I am, I try to get at least 2 days in for regular sessions, and then I try to do it on my own with the tapes and the YouTube. And
that's right.
Marsha, you know, I've gone onto Marsha's tapes and kind of put the computer next to me and got on the floor and done it. So it's been very, I try to push it into my life in more ways than just the regular weekly class. So
yeah, that's right. And you know, the Marshashana yoga is online, a lot of them, so you can go and do a little gentle yoga along with us. I think she's right. As my teacher Kathy Mann at the Yoga Studio Millis always tells me, you get out of yoga what you put into yoga.
Yep.
And for me, I was a once a week kind of gal, sometimes not. And then as it began to increase, and now that it's daily, oh yes, the results are there.
Yep.
And when you don't do it, you feel it. Like if I'm on vacation and I miss a week, it's like I can't wait to get back the next week.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, because we're aging.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're keeping it at bay more.
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely
Well,
are.
your muscles feel better. I find if I don't go, and I miss it for a week or two, which I did recently, going back, first of all, it felt so good to get back, and it's amazing how fast your body can just slip back into not having those strong muscles and not being able to kind of walk with I don't know, this sounds might sound crazy, but when I get out of a yoga class, I always feel like I have a bounce in my step.
Right.
I just
Yes.
feel better.
Better.
You know?
People do use that word lightness
Yeah.
in their step.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. When
Yeah.
you get out of a gym class, don't get me wrong, gym classes are great.
That's right.
But those really work you up and your heart rate's going and everything. With yoga, I feel like I've accomplished a lot, but I've also got a more sense of peace within me when I leave.
right.
So it's
Right.
not just the exercise part. It's a sense of peace at the end of the class. So.
Even though we do get a really good exercise.
Oh, we do. I mean,
because
I'm
of
not
holding
minimizing that
poses.
at all.
Yeah.
But you don't
Yeah.
feel it in the same way.
It's the same
I think
way.
at this age it agrees with us better.
It
I did
does.
my days with the Jane Fonda pumping at the gym thing 20 years ago, but I'm not
Yeah.
into that anymore. I like this, and it's a mind body spirit thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
All coming together.
It does.
Yes.
It does.
It just
It
sets
is.
it up all
It
differently.
is.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to minimize, because I still exercise. I'm definitely,
Yes.
I mean,
Right.
Marsha and I walk often, and we'll walk for miles. So it's not as if I'm, because
No.
exercise is still important.
It is.
But again, the yoga, you are exercising.
You
People
are.
often think that it's not about that, but believe me, the strength you need to put into your body and your core,
Yeah.
it's very
I remember
good.
saying to
Feels
my
very
teacher,
well.
don't I still have to go to the gym to pump the... Well, you're lifting your body weight.
Yeah.
You're lifting 120
Exactly.
pounds off the wall. Okay, so anyway, everything
Right.
is good, but
Yeah.
we'll just say again, yoga is great.
It is great.
The holding of the poses, the muscles that it takes to hold
Yes.
the poses.
That's right.
For like maybe the count of 5 or 10 seconds or whatever we're holding them for, helps to build that endurance.
It does.
That's
It does. Just as if you were lifting a weight.
Yeah, that's
You're
right.
lifting
That's
your
right.
body
You're
weight
lifting
is
your
what
body
you're
weight. Mm-hmm.
doing. I mean, even recently, probably in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've noticed that I can actually do plank, which is pretty much a push-up.
That's
and
right.
The first time I could do it and didn't fall flat was
right.
amazing to me. So
We always cheer each other on as
yes,
we make those
do.
milestones.
Yes, when we hit those milestones,
That's
we do.
right. So I hope you've enjoyed listening to these testimonies, and I just suggest that you all come to the plate, and everybody come on in and try a little yoga. Okay, but for now, we're going to move to the mat. So we begin today by just bringing our attention to our breath. You just notice that rise and fall of the breath, the natural rhythm of your breath. And as you focus on your breath, just allow the thoughts to remain descended. Just allow them to pass by or drift away. We notice the inhalation, the movement in the body. We notice the exhalation. So we know that thoughts do come to our mind, so we don't try to stop them in yoga. That doesn't really work. So we allow the thoughts to come, we acknowledge them, and then we allow them to pass away. We don't get caught up in them or all hung up in them. And we notice the rise and fall of the breath. So just begin to make the breath deeper. We'll practice that 3-part breath where we fill the abdomen first, and then the rib cage, and all the way up to the top, a nice fluid motion. Pausing at the top, kumbhaka, and then releasing the chest, the ribs, and the belly. Again, taking that 3-part breath, filling the belly, expanding the rib cage, and all the way up the top of the chest, just lifting the chest. Pausing and releasing the chest, the ribs, and the belly. And just returning to that natural rhythm. And then bring your arms alongside your ears and extend the body long. As you do that, keep your toes upward and let your heels be moving away, lengthening through the sides of the waist and stretching the body long. And of course, breathing. And then on your next exhalation, bring your arms down in time with the breath. And then just point your feet and allow the top of the feet to stretch. And then flex them, and then point them, and then flex them, and then bring them up straight and wiggle the toes as much as you're able and spread the toes. So in yoga, we like nice wide feet to ground us down. And then make a loose fist with the toes and then spread them wide and then wiggle them. And then drop the toes together and let the heels move apart. And notice the inward rotation of your thighs as you do that. So we notice the feelings. And then windshield wiper those back and forth, in and out. Toes come together, then the sides of the feet hit towards the floor. Just lubricating the hips and everything. And then come back to the toes together and point them forward away from you and let that stretch. And then release that, come back to hip distance with the feet and just tap the legs. It's really good for all the circulation in your legs, but it also opens up the backs of the knees, which get wicked tight for people. And then coming to rest. Bring the feet up to the floor one at a time. And just press down with the smaller back so you create that pelvic tilt. So we push that down and then we let it go. So when you press the small of the back in, you see the pelvis rise towards the face and then let it come down. One thing you can do to see if you're doing that right is to take your hand and just place it with the palm down underneath the small of your back. And then as you press down, you get a good feeling of where that's at. So just try that sometime to get that awareness going. And then just rock the knees to the left and right a little, just gently. And coming back to the middle. And then we'll just take the pillow out. Today we started in Shavasana. Sometimes we start in a different position. Extend the legs and arms and stretch the body. And then exhale the arms down. Bring your feet to the floor one at a time and draw your right knee into your chest and then extend it up and just interlace behind it. Make sure the chin doesn't go up in the air, so keep an eye on some things. Point and flex that foot a few times. And then draw the thigh down and push it back up. And then drop that to a bent knee and just rock that in and out a little. And then let it be at a 90-degree angle like this and let that right leg come out to the side. You can guide it or support it, but make sure the left knee stays straight at the ceiling. Just letting that stretch, so go to wherever you can. And then bring that back and with the left hand just catch that over there a little. And let the thighs keep the 90-degree angle so the thighs are really coming together now tightly, and take note of that just for a moment. And then come back and draw that right knee and extend the left leg long. And then let this right knee come forward, bring your hand to the top and make a few circles there. Keep the left foot up towards the ceiling, not rigid, but up, and then the other way. And then extend that right leg long. And draw it to the chest and then push the sole. The sole is right up at the ceiling. And then bring that foot right above the left knee there and take your right hand down at a slight T and take your left and draw that to the left. And as you do that, keep your gaze at the ceiling this time. So just keep your gaze right up and let the hips stretch so we get a nice 90-degree angle. We try to keep the torso on the floor basically. And then bring that back up. And then bring that right leg long and draw the left one in. And then extend it up. Arms are long, leg is long, point and flex a few times. And then draw that thigh down and then push it up. And then bring it to that down towards the floor. The sole is facing the floor. Take the left hand to the top and make some circles. Doesn't have to be a big circle, just kind of waking that hip up and then go the other way. And just getting some action going in that hip. And then extend that left leg up again. Bring the sole of the foot above the right knee. Take the left arm down to a slight T, and the right brings that over. And keep your gaze at the ceiling. Let your gaze be soft, and take a breath. And then coming back up, extend the arms and extend the legs. Exhaling down, and bring the feet back up to the floor. And let's cross at the ankles, and let the legs be a little longer though, and just make a little circle around. And then go the other way. And then try drawing these in as much as you can. So you can hold here, here, or you can bring your ankles and just give a good squeeze there. Just squeezing the internal organs so that we get rid of the toxins in there, and then release the feet. And let's just rock a little bit here. So we're just rocking on the lower back a little. And then we'll try to rock a little further up the back, loosening up all the tension up there. And then if you can come up to your toes and try rocking back. See how far you can go with that. And then finally just coming up and sitting up and lengthening the legs in front of you. And I think we'll use the belt, Lois, and we'll just put that right around the base of the feet. So they're hip distance and wide, hip distance wide and straight. So we want to make sure that the calves and the muscles there, the thighs, are down into the floor. And as we move forward, we lift the chest, letting the back be straight and long. Take a big breath, creating spaciousness in the front of the body. And as we use the belt, we kind of square the hips a little better. I like to also put a block, tall-wise right between there. That can help you focus on that better. And I feel it more in the security of the hips when I do that. So just set that aside. And let's, again, without the belt, reach forward, lift the chest. And then coming back up. Okay, let's come up to standing for a minute. And coming to the center, and we'll just stagger a little low. And again, bringing the feet hip distance apart. Let's bring the hands up and fold into that Uttanasana, that forward fold. See if you can lift one foot, the right foot, the toes up. Lift the toes up and just stretch that calf, and then place it back down, and the left one comes up. Oh yeah, you can feel that. And then just again, looking back between your legs. Very calming for the nervous system. Inhale and come up. Exhale to prayer. So here, let's try chair. We're going to try it with a little different version. So we're going to do a little action with the arms. We're going to bring the arms up, cross the left over the right, and bring the palms as much together as possible. Raise the elbows out and up as much as you can, stretching the shoulders, and come into chair. And just taking a breath there. And then release, come up, push the shoulders, hands away, drop them down. Push them away and drop them down. And then bring the index and thumb together and make some circles. And the other way. And then bring your arms in and go left over right. And then lift the elbows up and out and come into chair again. So just coming down, sitting down as you hunker on down, you also expand and move upwards. And then releasing. Inhale, come up on your toes, hands together overhead, strengthening the feet and ankles. Exhaling down. Now let's just step wide. Making the feet even and parallel, and then turning out one foot and bringing the other one in. So you can either slide the heel back or bring the toes forward, and then extend the arms. And reach away as you have that nice expansion And just bend that forward knee and gaze out over the hand. Keeping the arm lifted. You see how Lo does this nicely? She keeps her knee over towards her little toe. Her arms are nice, extending out from the shoulders. Just a really nice posture there. And then let's come into extended side angle, bringing that arm down. And keep the arm with the head, just as Lois is doing there. You see how nice and even she is. Keeping that, again, that toe not moving over here to protect the knee, but over the other side. And then coming back up. And just straighten the front leg now. Reach forward and come into Trikonasana. Triangle, just looking ahead. Nice, intense stretch for the body. Coming up, hands to hips, and either walk or jump to the middle. Inhale, round. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's step wide again. Try the other side. So turning that opposite foot out and the back one in. Extending the arms. Bending the forward knee. Nice. So you want to make sure the torso is, Lois is nice and straight here. And keeping the arms extending out from the shoulders. The knee right over the ankle. And bringing the arm down, extending over. Extended side angle. Come up, back to warrior, straighten the front leg, reach forward and come into Trikonasana. And just breathing. Triangle. Coming up, hands to waist, coming to the middle. Beautiful. And tapping the legs out. Let's again bring the hands overhead, interlace them, extend the arms up. Exhale down. Inhale, roll the shoulders. Exhale back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Bring the shoulders right to the ears on your inhalation. Exhale, ha. Ha. Inhale. Exhale, ha. Inhale. Exhale, ha. Let's come up on the toes again, hands overhead. And down. Okay, take your left foot and your right foot and cross it right over the left. And then take your right hand and cross it over the left arm there. And then we're going to try folding forward. Now go slowly so that, you know, because it can be a little balance thing. And just coming down. A little variation on our eagle. Garandasana. Coming up. A little stretch. And then just a little to one side. And up, and a little to the other. And coming up, releasing. And then doing the other side, we're going to take the right over the left, and the left over the right arm. And then raise the shoulders a little, and move forward into a fold. Taking a breath. And then coming up slowly. And bending to a little to one side. And coming up and slowly going a little to the other. And coming up and releasing. So it does take a little more balance than you might expect to. Okay, so we're going to come back down to the floor. So we're going to lay our blanket down. We're going to have a few minutes of meditation before we end. So just coming to that, please. Just stagger. Yep. So let's just bring the hands up, and for a moment we'll just focus on the root chakra. So we're going to focus at that place at the base of the spine there. We envision a red 4-petal lotus flower there. We envision red light emanating out from that, filling that whole area. This root chakra is the chakra of our stability, and it's where we hold our ancestral memories, it has a lot to do with how we feel about ourselves. So we just want to feel stable and good and secure. And the seed sound for this particular chakra is lam, L-A-M, lam. So we'll do lam twice, inhaling to begin. Lam. Lam. And then we'll come to Shavasana, just bringing the pillow beneath the head. And as we rest here, we draw our attention back to the rise and fall of our breath. For a moment, just notice your feet and allow them to relax. Let the toes release and the arches just slacken. Notice the weight of your legs on the blanket. Soften the knees and the thighs. Bring your attention to your abdomen and allow that area to soften and release. Let all the internal organs relax. Let the shoulders be soft, relaxing away from the ears. Rest the back of the body. Soften all the muscles of your face and let them just soften and relax. Allow the corners of the eyes to soften, the corners of the mouth. And relax your tongue. And just rest the busy mind. And then we'll gently roll to the side and just rest there a moment with a feeling of abundance, of being open to abundance. And then bring yourself to Sukhanasana, simple seated position. Bring the hands to prayer. Lift the sternum with the spine straight. Bow the busy, thinking, intelligent mind to the more intuitive wisdom of the heart. May the long-time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way home. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, Lois.